Welcome to part 2 of Nightmare on Elm Street. Just kidding, I'm not gonna sing. My name is Britt, and this is the series where I definitely do not sing. Just kidding. This is the series where I talk about the terrifying events surrounding some of our favorite movies. Let's get into it. So obviously Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the arguably scariest movies, and part of the reason is because the budget was so low on this movie. Everything looks kind of like lo-fi and real, but once you hear the actual story where Wes Craven got this idea from, you will be more scared than you already were, if that's even possible at all. So in the 1970s, the LA Times published this article about these Cambodian refugees that fled the war in their country to come to the United States, and all of them immediately started having all of these crazy nightmares. And a lot of them were afraid to go to sleep, and they thought they were being cursed for leaving their country. 22 out of 36 of them died in their sleep. Now, this was a medical phenomenon, never been recorded. The doctors did a bunch of research on it and called it sudden unexplained death syndrome. So this doctor in Florida was reading this article and started calling the doctors involved to ask them all kinds of questions about it, because it turns out the same thing happened to his kid 3 years prior. So this kid was just a happy-go-lucky kid, 6 years old. All of a sudden, he just refused to sleep. And he said he was having terrible nightmares. And he just was afraid to go to sleep. And his parents kept telling him it's just a nightmare, and he just wouldn't do it. So finally, they got him a prescription for sleeping pills, and they just didn't work. So he stayed up for 7 full days. And on the 8th day, he finally fell asleep, and everybody was relieved, until they heard blood-curdling screams coming from this kid's room. And in the 3 minutes it took them to get from their room to his, the kid had died in his sleep, clawing at his pillow. Bizarre, bananas, what happened? So they followed 2 extension cords that they find into this kid's closet, where he had 2 coffee pots going at all times. So he was drinking coffee, this 6-year-old, to stay awake because he was so freaking scared to go to sleep. Now tell me that's not some freaky shit. So when you rewatch the movie, realize that you can die in your sleep because of a nightmare, and then you will see that this movie is so much scarier than it was before. So I could go into a part 3 about weird real life stuff about this movie, but it might be overkill. So let me know if you want a part 3.